Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Kritika. So my topic is reproductive and child health. So we'll see the establishment of reproductive and child health RCH program in India and its components. So the milestones in MCH care pertaining to India is in 1997 the RCH program was started, which was phase 1, and in 2005 the phase 2 had begun. So what are the components? So before that we'll see why RCH. So first and foremost, because of the poor health status of women and children in developing countries, MCH was started initially with great enthusiasm. It was a comprehensive sector with flagship under NRHM, that is National Rural Health Mission, to deliver the targets mainly for reducing the maternal and infant mortality and the total fertility rates. But despite all the measures taken, the desired impact was not achieved. Therefore, in 1994, in an international conference, what happened is all the countries and all the continents together, they recommended a new approach that needs to be adopted, which is nothing but rural reproduction and child health. And one of the participants in this conference was India, hence agreeing to the decision to adopt reproductive health as a main priority. So the RCH program was incorporated the earlier existing programs. It has incorporated all the components of the earlier programs, and in addition it has added 2 more components, that is one related to sexually transmitted diseases and the other related to family planning, and it was formally launched on 15th October 1997. So the main aim of RCH phase 1 was to bring down the birth rate below 21 per thousand population, to reduce the infant mortality rate, to bring down the maternal mortality rate to less than 400 in 1 lakh live births, and 80% institutional deliveries should be achieved, 100% antenatal care and 100% immunization of the children should be achieved. These were the targets of the phase 1 RCH program. So this is a gist of the 4 main components that RCH incorporated. So like we can see, under family planning, it wanted to improve the different methods that were available and provided to all the people, that is to general public and rural population especially, free of cost. And it also included the private sector, collaborated with NACO in condom distributions. Under maternal health, it gave quality ANC care, institutional deliveries it promoted, skilled birth attendant should be there at the time of delivery for every pregnant mother, and home-based postpartum care, newborn care was provided, and quality safe abortion practices were done. And main importantly, it also catered to sexually transmitted diseases or reproductive tract infections. So under child health, it intensified the existing services like immunization, newborn care, and micronutrient supply, vitamin A prophylaxis. It also gave prophylaxis for respiratory tract infections, and it also catered to the adolescent health in terms of anemia. So then in RCH, what happened is there was a paradigm shift. That means from the earlier programs, which were vertical programs, it made into a more integrated service delivery, which means that it incorporated various other components, like say Panchayati Raj system. They involved them also, and involvement of NGOs, private corporate sectors. So they brought it to the grassroots level and involved the general population or the general public itself in the program, so that they can, because those are the people who will understand their own village, their own people better. And so this is what is integrated service delivery, that is involvement of the general population into the program. And from camp oriented, it became client oriented. That means individual care, whatever each, like say for family planning example, for family planning approaches, each couple was counseled and given a cafeteria of options, and they were given to choose whatever they want. So that is client oriented. This family planning is an example, but in every aspect that was incorporated. And from target oriented, it became goal oriented. So RCH was target free approach, and the eventual goal was set in mind, which was implemented based on that. And from quantity, they came to quality oriented. So like the camp oriented to client oriented, a full range of RCH services was given based on the need of the person. So sterilization camps, IUD camps, immunization camps, all of them were held so that each individual can get the benefit. So coming to RCH phase 2, RCH phase 2 had started in 2005, and here it was started to bring about the outcomes as envisioned in the Millennium Development Goals. In National Population Policy 2000, the 10th Plan, National Health Population Policy in 2002 and 2020. So it minimizing the regional variations in the areas of RCH and population stabilization through integrated, focused and participatory program, meeting the unmet needs of the target population and provision of assured, equitable, responsive, quality services. So in RCH phase 2, like I said initially, it gave more attention to what each individual needed, in the sense that after RCH 1 there was a time when many states, and in the states there were inter-district variations in the need of the population. That means in one state they required something which was of like say for example in Kerala, the family planning services were not of utmost requirement. They required more or less more grassroots level things like say vitamin A prophylaxis for children. So it was kind of, there were a lot of variations. Everybody needed different things at different points of time. So in RCH phase 2 they tried to incorporate that, where the population was given more importance and their unmet needs were met. So the components being essential obstetric care, as an emergency obstetric care, strengthening the referral system, strengthening project management, strengthening the infrastructure, capacity building and improving referral system and innovative schemes. So basically in phase 2 there was a reduction. The main objective was to reduce the maternal morbidity and mortality, reduction of infant morbidity and mortality, reduction of under 5 morbidity mortality, promotion of adolescent health, control of reproductive tract infections and sexually transmitted diseases. The new initiatives which were incorporated in phase 2 were to train the PHC doctors in life-saving procedures like anesthesia skills for emergency obstetric care, and setting up of blood storage centers in the first referral units. Then there was something started which is known as Janani Suraksha Yojana and Vande Mataram scheme. Safe abortion services were practiced and integrated management of neonatal and childhood illnesses. So the highlights of the program was integration of all these programs related fertility regulation, maternal and child health and reproductive health. Services are client oriented, demand driven through decentralized participatory process and target free approach. And upgradation of the facilities, that is creation of first referral units, was started, and provision of specialist services for STD and RTIs, and outreach facilities for vulnerable groups. So the service package for mothers is essential obstetric care. It started with early registration, minimum 3 ANCs. That means every pregnant woman should at least get this essential care, that is early registration, minimum 3 antenatal checkups, safe delivery, 3 postnatal checkups, in case of high risk early referral, and more relevant for states like Assam, Bihar, Rajasthan, Orissa, UP, MP. So promotion of institutional deliveries. 50% of the PHCs and CHCs were made functional as 24-hour delivery centers, and skilled attendant should be there at birth at all times for every individual. And policy decisions to permit health workers to use drugs in emergency situations to reduce the maternal mortality. So no need for a doctor to come in the nth minute and handle the case, but the people who are there in the hospital were well trained in order to give drugs or to handle the high risk cases. So under emergency obstetric care, first of all, strengthening of the FRUs, that is the first referral units, was done. Supply of kits and skilled manpower was made, and traditional birth attendance or DAI training was done, and NGOs were involved, so it is more local specific, and 24-hour delivery services were provided, and this was done to promote the institutional deliveries, and additional honorarium was given to the staff, and safe deliveries needed to be practiced. So operationalization of the FRUs to provide 24-hour delivery services, emergency obstetric care, newborn care and emergency care of the sick child, full range of family planning services, safe abortion services, treatment of infections, reproductive tract sexually transmitted infections, blood storage facility was made, and essential laboratory services and referral or transport services. So deliveries to be done by trained personnel in safe and hygienic surroundings were encouraged. Institutional deliveries are encouraged. In case of complication, referral is made to the first referral unit for management of obstetric emergencies. At least 3 postnatal checkups are given to the mother, and spacing of at least 3 years should be there between each child, and that was encouraged by family planning services. So under RCH2 for children, what are the benefits? That is essential newborn care like keeping the baby warm, checking the baby's weight, giving breast milk were encouraged. Babies that are premature or have low birth weight are given special care and even referral at a proper time. And babies with any complications are referred to a higher center, and exclusive breastfeeding is encouraged for the first 3 months at least. Then immunization is administered to every child meticulously. Vitamin A prophylaxis is given. ORT therapies are given for diarrhea and acute respiratory infection in children treated by cotrimoxazole tablets. Treatment of anemia. Contraception practices, very important. So for eligible couples, promoting the use of contraceptive methods among eligible couples is important to prevent any unwanted pregnancies. Couples should be able to choose from the various contraceptive methods that have been provided or that are there. So each contraceptive method, the pros and cons should be explained to the couple, and the couple should make the decision as to which contraceptive method they should be using. But you should never allow the couple to stay without any contraception. That becomes the responsibility of the healthcare worker. So safe services for medical termination of pregnancies should be encouraged, and other new services like RTI, STIs, treatment for those, and promotion activities for adolescent health were also given. So these were the drug and equipment kits which are usually present in a PHC or a first referral unit, like laparotomy set, mini laparotomy set, IUD insertion set, vasectomy set, normal delivery set, etc. So 24 hours functioning of the PHCs, it is planned to establish at least 2000 FRUs in phases in RCH2. 50% PHCs and all CHCs have to be functioning and in phases. So availability of services such as 24 hours delivery service, newborn care, family planning, counseling services, and availability of RTI, STI services and safe abortion practices. Then in RCH2, they have also for skilled workers, that is they have trained MBBS doctors in life-saving anesthesia procedures for emergency obstetric care. So in this 18 weeks of training course, the first training program was conducted in AIIMS at Chhattisgarh, and training is to be conducted in phases and limited to the requirement of the FRUs. Training in obstetric management, that is MBBS doctors are again trained in obstetric management and different skills like instrumental vaginal deliveries, cesarean sections, and episiotomy suturing. All these are being trained to the training has been given to the MBBS doctors itself, and this is under the recommendations of FOGSI. So duration of this training is 16 weeks. So there is also blood storage facility in the first referral unit and in PHCs, some of the PHCs. So management of obstetric emergencies is sometimes not possible due to non-availability of blood. So because of this, they have started establishment of blood storage centers at FRUs. And then there is something called as Janani Suraksha Yojana, which was started in 2005. This was mainly to promote institutional deliveries to reduce the overall maternal and infant mortality. A safe motherhood intervention replacing the National Maternity Benefit Scheme under NRHM. It is 100% centrally sponsored. That means zero payment on part of the patient, and in some it integrates cash assistance with delivery and post-delivery care. That means under Janani Suraksha Yojana, if the mother is enrolled, delivery is going to be free, and additional there will be cash assistance which will be given to the family. Next, coming to the Vande Mataram scheme. Vande Mataram scheme is for doctors, which was started in 2004. It is a voluntary scheme wherein any obstetrician, any maternity home, whoever in any maternity home or a volunteer, they can volunteer to see antenatal patients or antenatal mothers free of cost. So they will be given, like that particular doctor will be given this Vande Mataram logo, and on every Wednesday of every week she will be posted in one of the PHCs where she has to see antenatal patients free of cost. So, and they have to also distribute tablets to the patient, like iron and folic acid tablets, oral pills, TT injections will be provided free of cost for the patient. And referral transport. So the key issues with referral is the road, the transportation will not be provided at the will not be available at the correct time. The RCH phase 1 funds were not used properly. Community participation was lacking. So in RCH 2, the funds have been placed with Anganwadi workers and auxiliary nurse midwives. So it is in the community itself. And develop community mechanisms, like the neighbors of the patient or anybody nearing the PHC center can itself transport the patient to a higher, no need to wait for an ambulance, and provide outsourced ambulances at PHC, CHCs and FRUs at all times. So coming to the role of the Asha worker, she is basically a grassroots level, she is a village level link worker attached to Anganwadi worker and ANM worker. She is a motivator for ANC, PNC, institutional deliveries, immunization and family planning services, and provides an escort to beneficiary for above services. She also counsels an adolescent health counselor and family planning. So adolescent health care is basically, it is a very delicate time for an individual when he or she attains adolescence. So a two-pronged strategy will be supported, that is incorporation of adolescent issues in all the RCH training programs and all RCH materials developed for communication and behavior change. So dedicated days and dedicated timings are given to adolescents at PHCs. Okay, so adolescent period, like I said, is a very delicate because they are not very immature yet not mature enough to handle decisions, and they are not in a state of listening to what is being taught to them. So at this stage it is more likely that they will have certain deficiencies, they will have certain questions which they would want to be answered, they will not be ready to, psychologically they will not be ready to discuss things with their family. So this is a very vulnerable time, therefore adolescent health is given utmost importance in RCH phase 2 program. And one more thing is infection management and environment plan, that is in this is treatment and disposal of biomedical wastes, disposal of syringe waste, and provision of water sanitation and good hygiene conditions are encouraged. Safe abortion practices, early termination or termination of early pregnancies using two drugs like mifepristone followed by misoprostol, sorry for the spelling, and manual vacuum aspiration, safe and simple technique for termination of pregnancy. It can be done anywhere at PHC or comparable facility. FOXI, WHO and the state governments are coordinating the project so that safe abortion practices are done at the grassroots level itself. So these are some of the innovative schemes which each state has incorporated. Like I said, it is specific to the community. So in Gujarat there is increased access to safe delivery services in partnership with private providers like Chiranjeevi Yojana. A DAI Sangathan has been formed by 10 leading NGOs of the state to facilitate interface between the health system and the community. In Punjab, it is proposed to pay an incentive of 500 to all like below poverty line SCs belonging to urban areas. Purchase and supply of nutrients like iron, calcium, deworming tablets for pregnant mothers belonging to SC classes. And in Tamil Nadu, there is a screening code for carcinoma cervix. So every individual, irrespective of whether any symptoms or not, they are screened for carcinoma cervix. And subsidized medical practitioner scheme in Assam and Bihar, nurse practitioner scheme, laparoscopic training in Maharashtra, implementation of health insurance scheme on pilot basis. So every state has incorporated its own way of dealing with the problems. So monitoring, when we come to monitoring, the accessibility monitors, that means indicators. So that means the number of eligible couples that have been registered, the number of antenatal care sessions that are held as planned, and percentage of the sub-centers with no A&M, percentage of sub-centers with working equipment of ANCs. So these are the accessibility indicators. That means these are indicators which will give us the idea of how the entire PHC is functioning, whether it is functioning to the adequate requirement or not. Coming to the quality indicators. They are the quality indicators used to monitor and evaluate the RCH program through monthly reports. That is number of antenatal cases registered, number of pregnant women who had at least 3 checkups, any high risk pregnant women referred, number of pregnant women who had 2 doses of TT, number of cases with complications which were referred, the number of newborns with birth weight. So number of women who were given 3 postnatal checkups. So these are the indicators which will give us an idea of how the community is getting the benefits of the program, whether they are actually, these many people who are there in the community, whether they are getting the services or not. The first one was whether the PHC has been able to provide the facilities or not. And after these two, it is the impact. So impact indicators will be the percentage of deaths that have occurred, the maternal mortality ratio, percentage of low birth weight, neonatal mortality ratio, prevalence of postnatal maternal morbidity, percentage of baby breastfeeding within the first 6 hours of delivery, couple protection rate. So all these are your impact indicators. So coming to the current statistics in India, maternal mortality, this is a very important topic in itself. It is a different seminar altogether, but just remember the statistics, because in under community medicine, in obstetrics, these are the statistics that you will be asked in your exams, at least in the Viva. So the maternal mortality ratio between 2016 and 18 dropped to 113 in India, and in India, Kerala is the one which has the lowest maternal mortality. The neonatal mortality rate, neonatal mortality has gone down to 23.5 per 1000 live births. Okay, this is 2018 statistics. Even maternal mortality is 2018 statistics. Infant mortality rate, the current infant mortality rate is 29.8 compared to, and there is a 3.4% decline. Under 5 mortality rate is 36.6 in 2018 according to the World Bank collection of development indicators. Okay, so this ends your RCH. The thing is, RCH is a topic which is quite dry in itself, but there are certain pointers which you have to remember, like the components under each you should remember, and you should be able to tell, and it is all repetitive. So hope the seminar was kind of helpful. Thank you.